Let's discuss what the future holds for the Inkatha Freedom Party. For this, we're joined by Dr Sakhile Hadebe, a political science lecturer at UKZN and political analyst Mametlwe Sebei. Thank you both to you gentlemen for joining me this afternoon. And Dr Hadebe, I'm going to start with you and on the point that was made by one of the political analysts towards the end of that insert there, that the IFP was built on the charisma of an individual, and now that that individual is no longer there, it might just fade away into nothing. Your thoughts on that statement, but whether the IFP has a fighting chance now that its founding leader has departed?
Thanks. Greetings to you and your viewers at home. Yeah, I think it is true that the organization itself, from the inception, it's built around a certain individual, in this case, Chief Buthelezi. And even when the point in 2019, when he steps down, I think the organization missed the opportunity to start and to reinvent itself outside of Buthelezi while he was alive. So they missed that point. Now, going forward, that the leader now is not there. So definitely they have to adapt to that situation. I don't see them coping going forward for a few reasons. One is that at the death of a leader, and not just any leader, but a cult leader or charismatic leader, so to speak, it would mean they have to rebrand or reinvent themselves. Now, this is what is going to happen going forward. The first scenario is that you will have those old school, like the likes of Hlabisa, those who are handpicked by Buthelezi to lead. They will want to maintain the organization as it is, forgetting that the charismatic leader is no longer there. So it cannot survive because it was built around the leader. So if there's no leader, there's no organization. Hence, they need to rebrand. And so we have those who are much younger who will want to rebrand the organization. Maybe the likes of Untoli, the likes of Hlengwa, so to speak, or Hlengwa, I mean, they will need to make sure that they bring about democracy within the organization. So that is where the feud will begin, and it will eat the organization. We will see the fate of the NFP. That is what happened in NFP when Magwaza was no longer able to function his responsibilities. We had number of functions, and which led to the demise of the organization. I see the IFP taking that route.
And it's an interesting one, Mametlwe, to bring you here, that they could have used the opportunity while he was alive to rebrand and potentially reposition themselves as an organization that is without the checkered past of its founding leader. You've been quite scathing in saying that the atrocities of the fallen founder not to be ignored, particularly because of what they've resulted in for the working class and young people to this very day. Your thoughts on the IFP being able to resonate with the working class and the young people, given the checkered past of its the leader that passed away, and whether it's something that they can tear themselves away from?
I think we should be clear. The death of the IFP will not be something anybody has to miss. The reality is that it's not just a checkered legacy of its leader. The reality is that IFP was forged as an instrument of counter-revolution. Its imbies inflicted a tremendous damage to the movement for liberation in this country. And I think all the attempts toward wash and the legacy of Buthelezi are simply dishonest. They are simply diversionary. We are now being told about his complex, and mixed legacies with irrelevance about how much he was a father figure, how much he was a peacemaker. All of that, which simply portray and, if anything, denounces the memory of many freedom fighters who died in a bitter and irreconcilable struggles with the fascist impies that he fought, and that were trained and funded by the apartheid regime to oppose every single genuine movement of the working class for national liberation and in the struggle against apartheid in this country. And IFP was instrumental in that. And I think no matter how much they try, they would not be able to erase that memory. That is a memory written with the blood of the people that fought against apartheid. It is a history that is engraved in their banner. That is a history of an organization that was armed, as I said, that was trained, that was funded by the likes of Eugene Triblanche, by the likes of an apartheid regime, and that was a friend with, everyone internationally who supported and funded apartheid, the Reagans, the Thatchers, and I think the likes of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel and so on. So this is not an organization that contributes meaningfully to any progress in this country.
Mametlwe, just to stay on that point before I go back to Dr. Hadebe, are you indicating then that the relevance of the IFP as an organization without Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi bears no relevance going forward in South Africa based on what you've just described?
I'm arguing that IFP from the beginning, it was, forged as a whip, a blood whip of counter-revolution. It has continued in a post-1994 period to play a very reactionary role that opposes every movement for progress and advancement of the struggles of the working class in this country, the struggles for a genuine freedom where it means the working class would be in power, where it means that we can equitably share in the wealth of this country. And of course, through a public ownership of the means of production, we could place the wealth and the economy of this country in the hands of the working class people. IFP opposed, during its rule of, the KZN, the historic, Durban strikes, where, the trade union movement today emerged. The Bantustan regime of KwaZulu murdered and slaughtered many trade unionists who were battling cooperations in the 1973 strike. Their MPs opposed many efforts, and I think through the formation of a union called UWUSA, tried to disorganize workers who were forging a new independent black trade union movement that played a crucial role in the struggle against apartheid at workplaces by forming what we call a company unions that played a counter-revolutionary and a bloody role, notwithstanding, of course, in addition to everything that we know about Huipatong, Shobane, Kwamashu, and the killing fields of KZN. I think we should not mince our words. We should struggle for the memory of the working class. The freedom of this country did not come cheaply. It came at the blood of its martyrs, and those that are responsible for that blood must be called for what they are.
Dr. Hadebe, including what Mametlwe has just articulated there and the fact that we might see infighting and the lack of discipline given that that autocratic ruler has now passed away, do you think then there is an opportunity for the IFP to perhaps start to rebrand in such a way that they will be able to say, well, we know the atrocities of the past, but give us an opportunity and we can contribute to the growth of a South Africa going forward? I mean, taking into account the arguments that have just been put forward there by Mametlwe, it sounds like a near impossible task.
Yeah, I think it's the IFP is approaching the end because if you look clearly, if they have to reintegrate themselves into society, I think they've already missed that opportunity to say now we are a changed organization, we are now for the people, because as already articulated that they were against the people. So they were given a chance while Chief Buthelezi was alive in the TRC. That is where they should have started to say, look, we acknowledge what we did during the past, during the late 70s, 80s, 90s. So they missed that opportunity. They denied everything. So they are not in the position now to reconcile with any society in South Africa because they missed the opportunity. No one can forgive them for their past did, because they've not come forward to ask for forgiveness, and they were given a number of opportunities to do so. They simply failed. And it is known by everyone. Tomorrow it's Monday. If you can go to any court of law, whether it's magistrate or your high court, and sit there and listen to the cases, those who are being sentenced, or those who are being charged, they will be seeking remorse. They will be adhering to their past deed, so that they want to be accepted in the society. The IFP failed. Mangosuthu Buthelezi dismally refused. So it's not the time now. They are out of time. They can no longer be reintegrated to society. I think they are approaching the end.
Very interesting insights indeed. Thank you very much for giving us that information to the both of you, Dr. Sakhile Hadebe, and who's a political science lecturer at UKZN, and political analyst Mametlwe Sebei, discussing there the future of the IFP, if it has one at all.